So you're unwrapping and you got your new head and everything.
Yeah, I hadn't even looked at the head yet. I literally stood in the truck.
Well, hopefully it turned out okay. I mean, the last one did, so.
I haven't done my drill bit. That's not cool.
I got my drill if you need it.
No, I got my drill over there charging. Oh, there it is. I had my drum key drill bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got this. I got that new colored light over there. Need to try. So we got some people in here. Oh, so you went with the you went with the blue and white.
Yeah.
Phoenix design. Who do we have in here?
This is painstaking.
Oh yeah. I completely forgot you have to take every single lug off
Yeah.
to get the. So you were just waiting to go, like you had all your stuff packed
Oh, yeah.
and ready, and just
Yeah.
waiting on UPS to get
Well,
there.
here's the funny thing. So, my buddy Kyle, he ordered something from Amazon, right? And his package came in today. And let me tell you why.
From UPS.
No, from Amazon. So here's
Oh.
why Amazon's taking over the world, right? So at 7:31 this morning, UPS said that my package was departing.
Yeah.
At 9:38 this morning, it said that it was out for delivery. It showed up to my house at pretty much 3 o'clock p.m. on the dot. But from 9:30 to 3:30, it was up in the air whether I was getting it today. Even though it said out for delivery, I literally had another package come earlier this week from UPS that said it was going to be delivered that day, and it didn't come to the next day. So I was really worried that it wasn't coming today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kyle's package from Amazon, literally every 10 minutes since he ordered it, it updated telling him where his package was. Like literally
Like
this morning when I was bitching about UPS, he literally was like, according to this guy's like 4 streets down from our street.
Dude, how can they do that though? Because I remember one time I was getting my new computer in for the studio, and it was on a FedEx truck, and like it was in town, and the guy had gone by my house, and I had missed him because I had went to town. And I called FedEx and was like, hey, can you tell me where this truck is so I can go meet the guy and get my package? And they were like, we can't tell you where the truck is.
Oh no, Amazon not only tells you where the truck is, they're telling you like, hey, your driver's name is Larry, he's 34, he's a white male, he likes long walks on the beach, he enjoys a nice cup of hot tea on a cold night, he'll be there in 37 minutes, 32 seconds, and 18 milliseconds to the dot.
Unless like a...
Larry will call you. If something's wrong, Larry will call you and be like, hey, I took a wrong turn. Dude, he had a GPS. Like, when he pulled it up, looking at it on Amazon, he could see where the guy was 4 streets away and watched him. And Kyle's like, hey, he just pulled in the driveway. And Kyle
just called me while...
Who called you?
My friend Bubba just called me while we're live. So this is what we do, and... Rocky's the only person that I know. He's on the way here. He's 30 minutes away, and he'll call me and say and want to talk and have an entire conversation on the phone when he's about to be here, and we could just have the same conversation in person.
John, it couldn't wait.
It couldn't wait.
It couldn't wait.
And he's like, dude, I just listened to this podcast about and this drummer was talking about how, they don't make any money touring anymore, and which is funny because I told you I talked to my friend the other day, and he's touring.
John, you don't have any friends.
I've got you and Allison, and that's about it.
Who lied
and
to you and told you we were friends? So who hurt you?
It's like my friend is in a fairly successful rock band, and he does not make, like, he's got a day job. Like that's the thing now, like most people don't realize is most musicians, unless you're in like a top tier. I keep getting phone calls.
Was that the same person?
It's the same guy, yeah. And I told, like, we had just playing Call of Duty, and I told him I was like, man, I got stuff to do. And but yeah,
See,
like,
John,
unless you're in
to that podcast, instead of playing Call of Duty, had you been working on like your life goals and choices, you might be able to do more with your life.
Well, I guess, yeah, that's a pretty good point. But, you know, like most musicians have day jobs. Like, everybody in this band has a day job, and we have to be able to afford like this practice space and, you know,
Dude,
new drum heads.
I told somebody one time, I literally was in a band at one point in my life that the band as a whole grossed over $100,000 one year, and I said, and I still lost $5,000 of my
out of your own money doing it. Now, man, I believe it, because if you think about like the way streaming works now, like, you get a fraction of a penny per stream, and where there's a lot of good things about streaming. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just badmouth streaming, but
I just wanted to see. I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah.
Make sure it was kosher yet.
you have to spend so much money. You have to spend so much time and so much money on the music, and that looks really, really good.
See how I did the?
Yeah,
That looks sharp.
this is here. So if you guys, it's in the bag still, but this is like Rocky's new design. I don't know if you can see it well. It's like a Phoenix type thing. It's like a huge drum head. It's a 26-inch, which is like way bigger than it needs to be.
Hey, don't hate on my 26. I'm like one of the few guys left that can rock one.
That's
I'm gonna show Allison.
Yeah, that's one thing about, one thing that's really changed since this band. When we first started this band, like, we were still selling a lot of CDs, and people still buy CDs, obviously, but we were selling a lot more CDs, and streaming had just started. People had just started jumping on the streaming platform. iTunes was like the big thing, and physical CDs were still a thing. And now it's like you spend so much money on advertising, you spend so much money on you spend so much money on this music and stuff, and it's like you hope that 100,000 people or 1 million people will stream one song that you've got thousands and thousands of dollars in, because you get fractions of a penny for each time somebody streams. So you have to kind of play the numbers game, and you have to, like, it's a huge investment on the front end. Hence why we all still work day jobs. And, just going to be honest about it.
Well, I work a day job because I don't like being broke, but,
I know, like, I have musician friends that
I stay too sick not to have a job because I have to have health insurance. I'll probably die.
I just got over like a sinus infection myself.
We're not talking about what I just had to go through health-wise on the internet, but that was dumb.
Oh, what you just told me?
Yeah, what I just told you. Don't put
Yeah,
that
that's
on the internet.
that's awful.
Not my fault. I did nothing wrong. But because somebody else did something wrong.
I don't even want to know.
No, I haven't even.
No, you really don't want to know what it is.
Let's just say negligence.
I have just. Well, they don't really. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna try to top chat.
So, anyways, back to.
So you guys in the? Is anybody in the live chat? by chance? This is my first time doing the YouTube live thing, so I'm still trying to figure it out. Like we usually,
looks like Facebook.
it's the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing it to YouTube?
Yeah.
I thought it was Facebook.
No, we're going straight to YouTube this time, just because I like the YouTube platform, and that's where like we upload the vlogs and everything first. Where we have more followers on Facebook, but the thing is about Facebook, the way they have it structured, we've got 38,000 followers on Facebook, but every time we make a post, less than 1,000 people, hey Amber, less than 1,000 people see each of our posts. So, and I mean, they want you to pay, you know, they want you to pay for your post to boost and see, you know, for more of your fans and more people that like your page. Yeah, so they want you to pay every time you make a post so more people see it. And I understand they're running a business, but the way, like YouTube is, if you subscribe to our YouTube and you hit that little bell and the, you know, notification button, every time we put a new video up or we go live or something, like it doesn't limit our audience. Not that I know of, at least. But so when's the last time you changed drum heads? Was it
longer than I usually wait.
Late last year?
It was about mid last year that I completely changed every head.
I've known drummers that have had a drum set for years, and the only time they ever change their drum heads is when you bust a hole through it.
Well, I don't subscribe to that theory.
And then, which is awful, because they just sound just terrible.
By the way, here's a trick. If there's any drummers watching, if you use a pillow in your kick drum, you put Velcro on it. So that way when you stick it in the pillow or in the kick drum, it doesn't move.
Yeah.
Trick.
There's the...
John, did you forget we're ugly and the lower the lighting, the better off we are?
That's what they do to... That's what they do to in strip clubs. Yeah, I actually kind of like that.
It's a solid logic.
Yeah.
Can't argue with it. I decided to do the biggest drum first that way.
You don't have the hands on the two that touch the floor. You don't have like the hand clamps. You just have the regular black.
Yeah,
clamps
I've got 2 more of them, but I only had 10, and I think the company that makes them went out of business because I used 2 on my Pearl kit just to keep it kind of looking rad.
Yeah. I want to know what you guys are doing today. Like, get in the chat and tell me what you're doing today.
If you're watching this
If you're
video,
watching, yeah, we got people in here watching, man. Cool. I'm glad you guys are here with us. You know, if you want to ask us any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. You might not. Rocky will answer questions whether he's asked or not. Like, Rocky just always assumes people want to know what he's thinking, which is not ever the case. Hey, Kathy. Kathy's in here. Kathy came to see you, Rocky.
Hi, Kathy.
Kathy always sends me like her food. Like every time she makes like really good food, she sends it to me, and I'm like that doesn't help. That doesn't help me at all.
Of it or actually sends it to
no,
you?
she sends me she sends me a picture of the food, and I'm like, that doesn't help me one bit, because you know, next time just FedEx it to me or something.
Uber Eats.
DoorDash it to me.
Grubhub. You know what? I wish I would have had the entrepreneur, like whatever you call that, in me, who said, you know what, dude? If I just was like decided I wanted to ride around town and go pick up McDonald's and Taco Bell and deliver it to people's
and
houses
charge people charge people triple what I pay for it,
dude, I wouldn't have to have a day job.
And you don't even have to. You like just create a service that does that. Like if you would have thought about that, it's like we want to do pizza delivery.
Okay. Let me.
But we want everybody. But we want to deliver whatever you want.
Here's why Gene Simmons from Kiss is one of the smartest people ever. Like he literally was like, I don't even have to create the business. I just have to create the name, and then I can sell the name of the business later on. Like, that's what he did. Like, he bought up, like, rights to names and stuff. Like, I mean, the notorious thing is he owned the rights to OJ for, like, orange juice. So whenever Orange Juice Company wanted to refer to their orange juice as OJ, they had to buy a licensing right from Gene Simmons.
I did not know that.
Yes, that is true.
That's capitalism at its best, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, I wish I would have, like, forethought. Like, okay, so here's something that's going to be extremely controversial, but this is really true because we talked about it at work the other day. So when Miley Cyrus hit big, there was a guy who literally bought the website name, like, MileyCyrusSextape.com.
I think I remember.
Yeah.
I remember
and
that.
So
yeah.
when Miley Cyrus broke big and became as big as she is, like, her management team had to buy the rights of that from that guy. Because what happens is...
Because everybody thought that later on, when she got older, that would be a thing.
Well,
like
exactly.
Like the Paris Hilton thing was.
Well, yeah, because the thing is if you are Miley Cyrus and you own the rights to every website name that is MileyCyrusSextape.com or MileyCyrusNude.com or whatever, like, when she becomes massively famous, her management, the first thing they're going to do is we have to buy because if it doesn't exist yet, it only costs you like $10 to buy that domain name. Yeah. So you spend like $10,000 and come up with, like, 100,000 versions of anything that someone could do to defame your name.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep it from ever becoming huge. Well, this dude had the foresight to beat him to it. And I think he ended up making like $150,000. Just because he, like, off of a $10 purchase.
I believe it.
Like,
that's there was I saw a Facebook post. It wasn't that exciting, but there was a Facebook post a few years ago. This guy was in a coffee shop, and these two guys were sitting at the table behind him, being really loud. And this guy was like trying to do his work on his computer and just drink his coffee or whatever. These two guys were behind him talking about what their new business was going to be or whatever, the name of their new business, and they were being really loud and annoying, and this guy, as just kind of like a screw you for interrupting my breakfast or whatever, he bought the domain, like the name they decided on for their business, he bought that domain right there by listening to him.
Brilliant.
Somebody did that. That's why our website's rosesunreadofficial.com, because we had Roses Unread a long time ago, and we had a guy running it for us, and then we didn't know anything about websites at the time. So now when we take over and start doing everything, like we had a manager / guy that was kind of doing some marketing for us years ago. And he said, yeah, well, no, he wasn't a con artist. He was legit. And then, but, we were like, man, we're going to do things on our own. And he kind of got out of doing that because, he like started a family.
And then wanted to charge you for the domain name?
No, not him. He let the domain name lapse, and we weren't smart enough to really think about, we need to go ahead and renew the domain name and transfer the ownership. And now somebody wants like $2,000 or $3,000 for the rosesunread.com. We're not going to pay that. And we don't have an extra $2,000 just laying around.
You know what, though? All this conversation is going to be really messed up if somebody's already bought, like, Allison Pierre, FoySextape.com already.
I mean, that's cool. They can have, they can have it.
And if they didn't,
she's in the other room listening to
that idea.
Yeah, she's in the other room listening to it right now. So, what are you guys doing today? I didn't, like, when I started this live stream, Rocky's like, yeah, like, it's going to take a long time because I've got to take this white wrap off these drums. I want to, because they're black underneath there. And, Morgan, I hope you feel better. That's awful. I just got over, like, a really, really bad sinus infection. And normally, because I've got fairly decent health insurance, it's like the first sign of me being sick, I'll go straight to the doctor and just knock it out. And this time I was like, man, I'll just, whatever. It's not just awful. And
do you want to know what's helped me on the sinus infection in this year?
What's that?
I've been using that neti pot once a week.
Yeah, I used to have one of those.
I have not got a sinus infection this year yet. And
I've been doing
I pretty much believe it's because I've been using the Neti Pot.
I did the it took me a week and Mucinex and NyQuil, and I feel great. Like I went to the gym yesterday morning and went to work, and I feel great. But like for 4 or 5, well, I had that little heater going, man. It's like 40 degrees
Okay, so
outside.
for you guys that don't know, every time I'm around John and Allison, it's pretty much like hell. Like
a physical,
so hot.
like a physical. We keep it like 70 degrees in here.
Dude, it
Mostly
feels like 170 degrees in here.
It's like this room is not insulated that well, so like this was a like a carport at one time, and we had it enclosed so we could rehearse and do our stuff here, and so this room isn't insulated that well. So if it's 30 degrees outside, it's like 50 in here. So I came in this morning and I turned on my little space heater and I let it run all day until he got here, and he's like, "Gosh, it's so freaking hot in here, I can't even breathe."
Cause it is.
I didn't realize.
It's not my fault you have thin blood.
I just don't have any insulation, man. I guess I'm just
is
so
that supposed
skinny.
to be a fat joke?
That's exactly that. That's a fat joke. Even when I was bigger, like I was 30 pounds heavier than I am at one point, and I was still cold all the time. I've just always been very cold-natured for some reason. I don't like it hot necessarily, but like about 70, 71 degrees, that's kind of how I like it. Rocky keeps his house at like 60 degrees year round. It'll be 20 degrees outside. The house will get up to 64, 65, and he's like, "Gosh, it's burning up in here. Turn that crap down."
Dude, I swear, I think my heat has maybe kicked on a total of 4 times this year. Like in the wintertime, like my expenses are cheap. In the summertime, it is not pretty. In the summertime, that utility bill gets high.
Mine and your conversation earlier really got me to thinking how.
Okay, so let's back up for the people watching. So what we're talking about is finances and how we support ourselves without, the number one source of income from us being our music career. Because like I said, I've been in a touring band, a bigger band, whatever you want to call it, up until joining Roses Unread. I was in another band that did a lot of touring, big touring, stuff like that. And, I've never made a buttload of money. I never made any money.
You never made enough money to like buy a car or like.
No, I made enough at one point to supplement my income, but it was never an income breadwinner ever.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was being in a band that, grossed $100,000 one year.
Mm-hmm.
Which
for a band that's not signed and doesn't have somebody pushing them like in a marketing budget and all that behind them, that's actually pretty. That's
amazing.
That's actually pretty impressive.
Like we were proud of that $100,000.
There's like small businesses probably in like your town right now that aren't going to gross $100,000.
Exactly. So, and you got to think that's not us playing every day. That's a lot of like 2 weeks here, a week there.
It's playing like
couple of days here.
Playing like 35 to 50 shows a year.
That might even 50 might be stretching it.
Yeah.
We were very fortunate and lucky to kind of be at the right place at the right time, and we did have a lot of people that helped us along the way and gave us some really good opportunities.
Yeah.
But. We wanted to make it a breadwinner, an income thing, but it never made it there. And, that's 99.9% of every band ever. That's, we did better than 99.8% of every band, but we still didn't make it into that category of being able to tour consistently and make that a living.
So, like, just on a side note here, Rocky was in a band called Persevere for a long time.
10 years.
And I was kind of around. Rocky and I have known each other for a long time
Many
because we
years.
grew up. We grew up in like neighboring towns, and so Rocky and I always kind of followed each other. This is the first time we've actually been in a band together, but we always kind of followed each other and everything. And I remember his last band, Pro Severe, their very first show. Like I was there, and I was there for I don't know how many of their shows, and Roses Unread played I don't know how many shows with Pro Severe. And let me say that, everything he just said, they were Pro Severe did more than 99.8% of bands. Now, I'm not saying like bands you hear. I'm talking about like all bands, like
We were
including
like-
bands that like start and like have one practice and don't do anything, all the way up until like a Shinedown or like a Motley Crue. Like we're talking about every band that's ever been in existence.
Well, dude, somebody told me one time the numbers, and I think it was staggering. It's like if you broke down the percentage of every band and you were at 100%, 99.7% of bands never play a show ever in their life. Like, think about that. Every
That's
band.
so wild.
Yeah,
Dude.
there's 99.7% of them never play a show.
So if you start
Then
a
there's
band
a
and you play
0.1% that do like a couple of shows in their hometown, play some bars, maybe they're a cover band, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a percentage of the band that
does regional stuff.
that does regional stuff and kind of have a name, kind of build a following. Then there's like another 0.1%, or no, there's like a 0.5% of bands that did what we did, which was that you built a following, you became big, you stretched regional almost into the national act territory. And then there's a percentage of a band that is your Shinedowns, that are
the top tier guys that everybody like the bands that make people like us want to start a band to begin with.
And then there's the it's like 0.00001% of bands that are your Metallicas, your Rolling Stones, your Pink Floyds, your Led Zeppelins. Well, that's good, Mason.
Man, my dog just threw up. So.
But anyways, like those bands are the ones that, like I said, your mega bands. And it's really weird because we end up in boats, where we think of bands like the Metallicas and all of that. And, they're so like few and far in between. You don't have bands that are Metallica level status, that tour stadiums. There's not many of those left, and you don't see a bunch of new artists doing that either. Like, the only acts that I can think of that are newer, that are stadium acts, would be like a Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. And she's not rock, she's pop. But, I can't think of really any newer artists, like artists that have been in the last 5 to 10 years that have really been, like I said, that stadium status. In fact, I can't think of one new band that's stadium status.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bunch that have made arena status, which arena status is kind of a weird number because an arena can be as small as 5,000 and can be as large as 20, 30,000. And then your stadiums kind of kick in around 40+ thousand people. But like I said, just to become an arena act is a hard, very minimum fleet. Like I said, when you think of your big arena acts, you think of the Shinedowns and the bands like that. They've been doing this for a while. They are real seasoned professional musicians. And, and they didn't jump into an arena. If I'm not mistaken, when I was in Pro Severe, we did some shows and some small tours with Shinedown. And they're great people and great dudes. I always will talk very highly of Shinedown because they were always good to us. But they, I think it was like their third album before they hit like arena headline status. It wasn't until
when they're doing like the 5,000-10,000 seaters.
Yeah, when they moved up into like the 10,000 seater, like headlining. I remember one of the first times I saw Shinedown. They were opening, and they're an arena opening act, but they were not an arena headliner. And it was like Sound of Madness where they become an arena headlining act. So it took them 3 albums, which if you average 2 to 3 years an album, anywhere from 6 to 9 years
and
into your career.
everything before that.
Yeah, and everything before that. So, it takes an artist, I would say, at least 2 to 3 albums, which can be anywhere from a 6 to a 9-year cycle, to really become an arena artist. You know, it's very, in fact, we talked about Three Doors Down one time. And, Three Doors Down is like one of the few acts that I can think of that on their very first major record label release, they started a tour out in like 500-seat venues. And by the end of that one album cycle, they were an arena headliner. That was off
Let's
that.
think about that first album. How many just?
Oh, it sold.
How many bangers were on that album?
I remember Chris Henderson, the guitar player of that band, told us one time. He was like, man, he goes, I remember them telling us that, if we could sell 50,000 records, we would keep a record deal. And he goes, we were just like, I hope we sell 50,000 records. He was like,
and what,
that record sold.
10 million
he said that record sold 50,000 copies its first week of release. And he said, well, I guess we get to keep our record deal.
Yeah.
And like I said, so they started out in like 500 to 1,000 seat venues, with Kryptonite. And by the time they had done Better Life and all that other stuff, they were an arena headlining act. Like you don't see that happen anymore. You don't hear of a band or an artist. I mean, maybe like Billie Eilish right now, she kind of came out of nowhere and she's an arena headliner. But I'm sure someone can tell us that, no, she's been doing this for 3 or 4 years and no one really took to it.
She's like 18 or 19 now.
Yeah.
I think she's been doing it.
Well, there was like Justin Bieber kind of did that, went straight into like the arena world status. But there again,
he had he grinded on YouTube.
Yeah, but Justin
years.
Bieber became famous when he was like 11 or 12, and
Man,
he's like 20 something now. So that's at least 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more like 12, 13 years ago. So I mean, and still 12 or 13 years ago, the music industry was different than it is today.
Yeah.
You just I can't tell you a band in the last 5 years that went from a smaller status to an arena status. The closest band I can imagine is Bring Me the Horizon. And that was still like 2013.
But they've
been doing it for like 20 years almost.
They were grinding in like the clubs and the bars.
Yeah, for years.
So my story about Bring Me the Horizon is I had no idea who they were. Their first U.S. tour, they were like a deathcore band when they first started. Their first album, they were signed. I want to say they're from the UK. They got signed very shortly after they started and did a lot of local stuff, and they got signed. But they came over to America, and I remember they were on a metal tour, and they came through Memphis, and one of the bands,
was that Dreg?
They played at the Dregs, this place called the Dregs in Memphis.
You have to explain this venue.
The Dregs in Memphis was, if you got 35, 40 people in this place.
It was a house.
It was somebody's house that was never finished, and they sold it, and somebody bought it and started having shows there. And it was the most like punk rock, just, it was pretty awful, but there were some awesome shows that came through there for a short period of time. First time I saw Bring Me the Horizon was like on a Tuesday or Wednesday night in Memphis. It was probably 2007, 2008.
Was it even that?
Yeah.
That.
It was that. It had to be that long ago.
Yeah,
it may have been.
It was in the beginning of Persevere, because I remember that's when Ryan was doing a lot of that. And
yeah, Taylor and Ryan booked that show. Our friends Taylor and Ryan booked that show. So the first time they came through Memphis, there was 35, 40 people there. Now fast forward 10 years. No, okay, maybe not even 10, like 7 years, 8 years, something like that. So they came to the New Daisy and sold it out in like a day or two. And the New Daisy's like 1,000 capacity venue when it was open. And sold it out in a couple of days. And that was 2014?
Yeah.
Is that 2014? So in 2000,
it was 13 or 14.
So 7 or 8 years later, they played Memphis a second time that I know of and sold out the New Daisy. And that was the second time I saw them. the third time I saw Bring Me the Horizon, they headlined the Tabernacle in Atlanta. And I want to say the Tabernacle's probably a 1,500, 2,000 seat venue. Would you say that's about right? Man,
Yeah.
Like 1,500, give or take. And that was in, that was 3 years later. And then the next time I saw Bring Me the Horizon was last January, so in January of 2019, and they headlined the Coca-Cola Roxy in Atlanta, which is a 2,000 or 3,000 seat venue. Maybe not that much, but so
You see
like
what I was
that's.
talking about real quick to break that? You see it?
I
See it in
I
the
didn't
light?
see. I didn't even like. I
We're
should have
having
known.
to
I
unwrap
should have
because
known.
the drum wraps rippled on me.
Yeah. So funny story about this rap. Anyway, so that's like talking about Bring Me the Horizon. Like I've been a fan of Bring Me the Horizon for going on,
But I think we
11
kinda
or
got off
12
our main point.
11 or 12 years now, and every time I've seen them, they've grown. Which that's most bands. That's not the case. Like bands that I've been listening to for the last 10 or 15 years, they generally. Most bands have played like this. They've stayed around the same level, and they've kind of sustained that, which is a feat in and of itself. So funny story.
Don't do it.
This is the original rap. Like if you can see that, this is what we originally were gonna rap Rocky's drums, and this is it's like a black to red fade, and the red was he got the red, and the red ended up being like too orangey at the top.
I hate orange.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it looks good on camera, but in
I'm
person,
not an
it's
orange
very
guy. It's very orange.
it's like very sunshine orangey, and Rocky got the first one made, and then they sent him an a more of an orange wrap, and he didn't like it, so they replaced it. And then the second time they replaced it, he was like, "Man, I think I'm just gonna wrap the thing white."
Well, because it was still orange, it wasn't red. Now that's I'm not. We won't mention the name of the company because I'm not talking bad about
now
it.
the wrap itself is very high quality.
Very high quality, and I've used the company before, and they've always done right by me. So
yeah. So I mean, it looks really cool on camera, but in person, it's more like you can kind of see it right there. It's more like it's not like the red like it should be, See the difference between those two reds. My dog threw up in the floor on camera a while ago, and that's why I have this. Funny story, but yeah. So Rocky came over today, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take the wrap off my drums," and I'm sitting here thinking, "Yeah, that's gonna take a couple hours." And here we are, 38 minutes into this thing. I started this pretty much the same time he started taking the wrap off the first drum, and we're just getting the first one done.
yeah, but I did the biggest one first because it's the hardest. It's got more pieces.
Yeah.
The other ones won't go.
Well, the cool thing about these drums is it's got a really cool. It's like a cool. It's like a black, with a little bit of metal flake in it. You can't really. You kind of see it right there. It's got a little bit of a metal flake in it. It's a really cool.
I'm putting wax on them right now.
You got F11?
No, I got the McGuire's.
Oh,
because they're actually painted with car paint. So why not use car wax to shine them up real quick?
Yeah.
I had this drum set custom painted this color. This was not an order.
It was like a black, just a flat black when you got it, or a shiny.
No, they were maroon when I got them.
Is that like McGuire's wax, or is that just a quick detail?
This is no, this is actually spray on wax.
Oh, okay.
I'm just rubbing it in. I'll come back and diminish it and polish all the streaks out of it.
Yeah. Shouldn't you use a microfiber cloth?
Probably.
I've got some if you want one.
Oh, what are you still doing? Go get it.
They're
Is
out.
it clean?
Yeah, I got a whole thing of clean ones.
I said I grabbed these because I know they were clean. Yeah. Are we still we're still Facebooking live. Oh, okay. Hey, people. Hey. I'll wait for John. John will take forever to do something that should not take forever. Sweetness. So, John, back on finances. I'm not gonna need that anymore.
That'll be all right. I got like a whole big pack of them. You can. Back on finances.
Back on finances. Let's kind of keep rolling. So, what we're trying to tell you from a financial standpoint of view, from people who
I definitely.
I guess you can probably talk a little more, John, because that's kind of what you do. As for a living, you kind of work with finances. I would say that if you want to be a touring musician in the modern world, whether you're in a band or whether you're what they call a sideman, which is like a touring artist, or you're a session musician, you kind of need a side hustle.
Yeah.
You need some kind of stable income that allows you to do that, because that's kind of one of those gigs where when the money's good, it's good. And then when it's not good, it's not good.
When you say not good, we mean like
nothing,
like non-existent.
Like not even having a gig. Like that's what we're talking about.
So pretty much, unless you're a Shinedown, Papa Roach, Billie Eilish, unless you're to that level, you're not gonna be a wealthy person
in the music industry.
Like as far as a musician goes, you could be a producer and a song.
We're not saying that you can't build your act to that. Yeah. We're saying you can do that, but you definitely need some kind of income coming in besides that to allow you the time and energy to spend in that. So you don't have to like basically go broke and have to give it up. So like what I'm trying to say is like if you start a lawn care company, you know, and you build up a crew, a truck and a trailer and some lawnmowers and stuff. What we're saying is that when you do get a good gig and you need to go out for 2 to 3 months, that's making you money. So if you take that gig and go, I'm going to break even on this gig. Well, you still have income coming in from that business you've created. Mm-hmm. And we know several friends and musicians who do that exact thing. And
they then like every day they'll call their main guy at their business and say, you know, what's going on, or they'll be constantly on their phone or on the computer.
But that allows them to be able to do that because they don't have to worry about money. You know, they don't have to go, man, we can't go on tour unless we bring home so much dollars because I've got to pay rent and the car note and buy diapers if you've got a family or whatever. You can just go, I can take this gig and hopefully it will build my career the way I need it to build my career. But my lawn care company or my real estate business or, you know, while I'm on tour, I'm like being a graphic designer and making money while we're not playing. Like, you got to have something like that.
Yeah. We all work day jobs, and we're pretty, for the longest, I mean, I'll be honest about it, for the longest time I was almost ashamed that I worked a day job because there was almost a stigma behind social, I don't guess that's the right word, like, the whole social media thing.
If you weren't like a professional musician and that's all you did was play music, like you were not
taken seriously.
Yeah, you were not taken seriously.
So for the longest time,
dumbest thing ever.
So for the longest time, like I'm the world's worst about this. For the longest time, I would almost try to. I did not like try to make myself look like I was, you know, more of a, you know, legit thing than I am, but I would like hide the fact. I wouldn't like openly talk about the fact that I worked a day job, and you know, like, you know, I went to college and you know, got the big boy job.
Did you graduate?
You know, I graduated.
He graduated college.
I graduated high school and college, and You know, I did all that, and like for the longest time, I was almost ashamed of that because I was jealous of people. And to this day, I still feel that. You know, like I've got a good job and everything.
You had the stigma that you couldn't cut it as a musician because you had to work a day job.
Yeah, and man, that was like a hard pill for me to swallow.
Which is like
for the longest
dumbest
time.
thing ever.
And now we've just kind of realized that people that like our music like to be able to what's the word I'm looking for? They like to identify with us. Like they want to they want to relate to it because like people that like our music and come to our shows and we see they have a day job as well. And I've found out in the last couple of years that that's like, you know,
we still got people watching, or are we just talking to ourselves?
No, man, we got people in here. What's up, guys? So yeah, that was like a big a thing for us, like a big turning point a couple of years ago. Is to just we're like trying to be transparent.
You don't ever get phone calls. And the one time you're on
the time that I don't need to get a phone call, I get a phone call.
Calling.
Yeah. So so you know, we all work day jobs and we're transparent about it. And you guys, most of you guys in here probably work a job as well and provide for your family. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
It is
you know?
what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's like the reality. And come to find out,
hell, in this economy, be glad you got a job.
We play shows with bands that I've looked up to for years, and a lot of those guys have like a job. Like there's bands that go on tour. And I'm like, man, these guys, you know, I'm like jealous of a lot of these guys or whatever. And they're on tour a lot more than we are and everything. And they're playing a lot more shows than we are and selling a lot more albums than we are. And come to find out, they're going back home when they're not on tour and they're like a real estate agent or like a house appraiser. Or like Rocky said, they have a lawn care service and they have somebody back home that like runs the business for them when they're not there. And man, like... Now that I've kind of gone back down to earth or whatever, I kind of think that's cool, you know, that you're able to balance that like work, music, family. You know, it's not like a work-life balance. It's like a work-music-life balance.
Close.
You know?
You're close.
Yeah.
Look, I've always said that the funny thing is like being a musician is... And actually trying to do what we do, go out, play shows, build a band, build a brand,
and
all that other stuff.
And just not lose your ass off.
Yeah, like most people don't realize, like we're multi-faceted human beings, and it's almost like having split personalities or identities.
Yeah. Because
we have to be able to maintain things on different levels and hold different mindsets and all that other stuff to deal with different aspects. But I've always said you have band, you have personal, and you have work.
Yeah.
And you've got to balance those three things in your life. You have to balance your personal life with your job. You've got to balance your personal life with your band. You have to balance your band with your work with your band, and vice versa on all three of those.
Yeah.
So, like, I might have to go to work and be a professional business person, which I have to in my job, and then get off of work and, have a certain personal life, whether it be a significant other or your family, and be able to be personable and real and, do that thing. And then, kind of jump on a Facebook Live video and have to kind of be Rocky the drummer for Roses Unread and, and have that persona. And some days you get those mixed up and... you don't do it the right way. So I mean,
and man, it's weird to me because I work with, there's like close to 200 people in the place that I work, and a lot of them know what I do, and a lot of people I work with think it's really cool, and we'll have like visitors come to my job and they'll introduce me as, like they'll say that I'm like the rock star or whatever, which is not like that's not the case at all. Like obviously,
my thing is I'm actually a manager at where I work, so I'm like the second in command.
Yeah.
To the whole place. Like I'm and I'm not saying that to boast. I'm just saying like literally I'm like the second most responsible person there. So anything that happens, I usually have a hand in it, what's going on. And literally everyone calls me Rockstar. Like, it's like, to my employees when they come in there, and I'm not one of those guys.
It's like really weird.
Yeah, like my employees will come in and be like, "Hey, Rockstar, I need something," and I'm so used to it, I don't think anything about it. But that's just how they refer to me, and I respond to it.
I don't, man,
So
see, I'm the opposite though, because I don't really see myself as that at all.
Well, I don't either, but it's just one of those things where
I don't know how to respond to it because some days I just don't know how to.
Well, see, I take it as a term of endearment. Like, if they think they know me well enough to call me that, then like we have that kind of personal relationship.
Yeah.
Now, it's the same way. Like I said, I'm a manager. If somebody walked in and called me boss all day, it's not because they have to call me boss, but I call my boss. I'm like, "Hey, boss, can I, order some of this, or we need to do this?"
Yeah.
And that's just our relationship. It's not I have to call him boss. It's just like, that's my term I use. Instead of going, Mr. Manager this or Mr. this, I just say, "Hey, boss, I need to order some of these. Is that cool?" And they're like, "Yeah, fine, go ahead." That's just the relationship we have.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of relationship that my employees have with me, is they just call me Rockstar.
I'm the weird guy at work. I'm the finance guy at work. I'm pretty much, the finance department at my job is very small. There's only 3 of us in the finance department, and I'm there's the top person and there's me, but I don't necessarily manage the other 2 people. But I'm the weird guy at work. I'll take my guitar to work and practice at lunch.
You do what?
Yeah, I practice.
You still ain't good.
Because I'm
that's why
because
I'm
awful.
Ain't good.
I'm awful at it. So I need to get as much time in as I can.
Yeah, you do.
It's like today I was, instead of practicing guitar, I played Call of Duty, and
That's
I was
the
like,
problem,
man,
though.
if I practiced guitar for like 4 hours today, I would probably still not be good at it. But I would have made some progress.
I would suck a little less.
I would suck a little bit less at it. Gosh, man, it's just like, man, you kind of hit the nail on the head, though. It's for most people, balancing the work and the personal life thing.
That's hard enough, right?
It's
there.
really hard.
Yeah, and then throw in
a lot of people can't do that. I know people that cannot separate the two at all.
No, I still to this day know people, dude. And where I was going with that whole conversation is, it's your maturity level on doing what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that to like ever say someone's not mature enough or that they're a child, but literally, like, you have to have a mature approach to everything we do in this. Like, like, not only, I'm talking about balancing all this other stuff, but I mean, in a way, we're running a small business.
Yeah.
So we have to make.
We are. I have to file taxes on it. And we have to claim all of our stuff.
We've got to.
So it's a legit business.
You got to make smart business decisions, and you got to do that. If you're not making smart business decisions, then you're not gonna make it for long. That's for sure.
Man, and the thing about it is, it's a constant.
It's a constant struggle. It's a constant fight.
We have to, going back to what we said earlier, there's so many bands out there now that are not just bands out there. There's a lot of really good bands out there. There are amazing bands that are out there that I will probably never hear in my lifetime, just for the sheer fact of there's so many. And we're in that category. Like, we're a band, and we're serious about what we do, but we're trying to reach as many people as we can. So it's not like you put out an album and, let me back up. For the longest time, I always thought, okay, if we put out this album and the songs are good, people are going to just latch onto it. Like, it took me years to realize, no, that's like a quarter of it.
That's the easy
You've got
part.
that's literally the easy part is
Yeah.
writing a good song and putting out a good quality song that people will like listening to and that we really feel good about, because we don't put stuff out that we don't like. But we put stuff out that we like, that we really feel good about, and we think other people like. That's like a very small piece of it. It's not like you throw it out and people are just going to jump on it and run, because there's so much good music out there.
Does that happen? Yeah.
It does happen.
Not as much as it used to.
It do, but it happens,
Yeah.
and it will happen to somebody.
Yep.
But there's always a rule to there's an exception to the
To
rule,
every
and it's
rule, yeah.
the exception is probably not going to be you.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the rule of thumb that I live by. There's always an exception to the rule, but the exception is probably not going to be you. It's probably going to be somebody else, just because there's millions of other people trying to do what we do.
Yeah.
So you take this really good song that you've put sometimes up to a couple of years worth of work into to get it recorded and mixed and put out and everything, and then you get it where you can distribute it and you can let people hear it, and you shoot a music video or you put it out as a physical album or put it on Spotify or whatever, and then you have to hit it every single day. You have to hit social media. You have to engage people. You have to do like what we're doing right now, like getting people in, like, which this is cool to me that you guys have been here with us for so long, just listening to us, just talk. And this is kind of, I mean, this is just what we do. Like, we get together and change out drum heads and talk about, like, okay, what's our next move? And that's what we're doing right now. So it's cool that you guys are here with us. But that's like that's like an everyday thing. Like,
We'd be
okay,
having this discussion
whether
it
you
was on
guys were
Facebook
here
Live
with
or
us or
not.
not. So yeah, this is what we do. We do more conferences and strategic plans. We do that more than we actually play shows and rehearse, which take that however you will. Rocky kind of pointed that out recently. He's like, dude, we rehearse a lot and we know these songs. We've been playing these songs for a while, and like, we wrote these songs. We know these songs. We don't need to rehearse as much. We need to figure out a plan to get people like engaged and get more people interested in what we do. And the people that know who we are, it's also, you have to keep them interested as well, because like I said, there's other great music out there that well, I mean, they need to go listen to. I'm not saying like listen to only us. I'm not saying that at all. Like, go listen to everything. But we have to constantly think of ways to keep people coming back. Even though we're only putting out new music every year or every however long, we put out, the last music we put out was the Rapture EP, which was in August of 2019. And we've only had one single off of that, and we're working on
the second.
We're working on the second
video right now.
Yeah, so that'll be like
coming.
That'll be a new thing. I think you guys are gonna like that. We kind of, and we'll have. How many hours do you think we've spent talking about and planning this music video?
Way more than probably most all the other music videos combined were.
Probably.
Like, in the entire time I was in Persevere, which we only had...
Y'all had like two or three
music videos in Persevere, because we were not really like music video. We had a lot of live video and stuff like that. But,
which was really cool, by the way.
Well, we also started in a different time. Mm-hmm. Persevere started in 2006. You know, it was a different world back then. And you'll hear us say that like we're talking like we're old. I'm not trying to do that, but literally 2006 music scene is way different than 2020 music scene.
Well, and 10 years ago in the music world is almost like 2 generations ago.
Yeah.
Because you have like 5 years ago, the music scene was a lot different than it was now, and a lot different than it was 10 years ago. And then 20 years ago, like, we weren't even really in the music scene 20 years ago. No. We were just music fans, so we just know what we see on watching Motley Crue or whatever. Well, that was longer than 20 years ago, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. But man, like we've spent, I don't know how many hours we've spent talking about this next music video and this next single release, and we're still not done talking about it. And it's gonna take us 2 days to shoot. I don't know how long it'll take to edit and all that. And then it's going to be all for, I don't know how many freaking hours it is for like a 4-minute music video.
A lot. It's a bunch of hours.
Yeah. But the thing is, this 4-minute music video is going to be out there on YouTube and the internet and wherever else. It's going to exist forever.
Forever.
So you have to.
And you know, and that's another thing.
You have to put the time into it.
Well, not only that, but that's another thing I think people don't think about too. Is like we live in a different world where, you know, if you messed up at a concert, you could go you could play the next night and redeem yourself.
And nobody would.
Yeah, now someone's got a cell phone video of it on YouTube and you'll never live that down, ever. Someone 10 years from now will be like, man, but that one time they played in Rhode Island, like, and he fell off stage because he was drunk. Like, people remember that now. Like, that'll be there forever.
There's a local guy around here, and he's an older guy, and I've never met this guy personally, but there's a story around Jackson that this guy, he was like playing in this 80s hair metal tribute band, and they did, you know, Whitesnake and Poison and Motley Crue. This dude had he played with 2 kick drums.
Hell yeah.
Not like 2 kick drums side by side, like 2 kick drums strapped on top of one another.
Hell yeah.
Have you ever seen that before?
No, but I want to.
It was the most overcompensating thing I've ever seen in my life. And the story was this guy was like really, really drunk. He was playing a show, and he's got his left hand, and he's playing his hi-hat and he's hitting his snare with his left hand. And he's really drunk. And my friend was running sound for him, and he was running the monitors for him, and so he was like side stage, and he sees this guy, and he's like playing, and he drops his left hand stick where his snare is. And so he's like looking at it on the ground while he's playing the hi-hat, and then he's like reaches down, and he ends up like hitting himself in the head and like knocks himself out, and he falls off stage out cold in the middle of the set. and they still talk about that to this day. Oh my gosh, dude. Were you even listening to that story?
Yeah, no. You told me he fell off stage because he was drunk.
Oh my god. Like the first time, I didn't tell the story. I don't tell stories very well.
No, you don't.
But just think about that. Just think about hitting yourself in the head with a drumstick hard enough to knock yourself out cold.
I mean, I've hit myself pretty hard one time.
Anyway, my battery on my phone is going to die in shortly, probably, because apparently video takes a lot of. Did you get top and bottom heads?
Huh? Yeah. If you want to do it.
So you got the G1 clears
for the bottom.
You got the G1 clears for the bottom?
Yes.
Or the top?
No, the G1 clears are on the bottom, John.
But this is a batter head.
No, that's what everybody uses as a resonant head, John. Read it on the
You're
internet.
using a 10-ply resonant head?
That's what everybody uses, John. That's the standard. That's just like people using if you're doing Remos, it's people using an ambassador on the bottom. An ambassador is a 10 millimeter.
I just think it's too much.
It's not. That's what everybody uses. How is it too much?
Shouldn't you use like a 6 or 7?
No, they don't even make a 6 or 7.
They make a 7.
Mil. Yeah, the they make some resonant heads that are 7 mil. That's not ply. It's 7 mil.
Yeah, like a 1 ply. Yeah,
It's a 1 ply.
It's a 1 ply 7 mil.
Yeah,
yeah, my bad.
Yeah. But no, that's
You gonna let me draw on them?
No, John.
But they're gonna be on the bottom. Nobody's ever gonna see it.
Do you need to go to your corner?
Allison,
She said she can't move.
Allison's gonna draw on your drum heads, Rocky.
The old one she can.
No, she's gonna draw on the new ones. What she does is she takes we've got the Patreon page, and for some of our like upper tier people, she'll take Rocky's drum heads that he's used at shows, and she'll like paint pictures and draw on them and stuff, and make like draws like drew like a sun on one and drew like cartoon characters on another. It's really cool. We've got some people that have like Allison's drumhead art hung up in their house. It's really neat.
Yeah.
I can't draw at all. But I think it's cool. So here we are an hour later, and you've almost got the kick drum finished.
Yeah, almost. And when I say almost, we're like kind of halfway there.
Almost and kind of halfway there. Guys, I just got a notification. My battery on my phone is about to die. Apparently, I didn't think about that. But thank you guys for sticking around with us, man. And does anybody have any questions or have any, shout outs or anything they want us to do? I know James, you and Kathy are in here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And Amber, you guys have been here for a long time, so thanks for just hanging out and letting us know that you are somewhat interested in what we're doing. Being a drummer is really boring,
All right, Mr. Baritone.
Just I don't even like changing the strings on my guitar. Like it takes all of 5 or 10 minutes to change the strings on my guitar, and I don't even like doing that. You're over here taking lugs off and screwing stuff in and polishing crap, and
it's a lot of work.
It's awful.
That's why you pay me good.
Y'all, we should do a podcast. So this is what this is. Like Rocky and I have kind of toyed with the idea of doing a podcast for a long time because Rocky and I have these discussions. Are y'all leaving? Yeah. Okay, bye. We'll see you. Y'all be careful. Allison and Whitney are going to a show in Memphis.
Sean Mullins.
Yeah. Sean Mullins. I don't know who that is.
Rockabye.
Our generation's Chris Christopherson.
No one knows who that is either.
Great. So anyway, y'all be careful. Yeah, so this is what this kind of was. This was like our first attempt to do like a live podcast / live hangout. Yeah, and that's kind of what the vlogs and this is kind of leading into. Because Rocky and Allison and Jed and I have these long conversations in the van going to shows about just, what's our next move? Why does Rocky hate it being hot? And, why does Rocky hate everything? And why is Allison such a girl? I don't know. Like, just this is stuff we talk about. So this is what this kind of is. We're just kind of testing the waters just to see who would show up. And anyway, we've had some people show up and stay the whole time, which, surpassed my expectations. So thank you guys for hanging out, man. Yeah, if you guys would like to come back and hang out another time or want to hear us talk of our opinions on something or talk about how we do something or what we think about something, leave us a note in the comments or send us a message. And much love. Thanks, James. Need to do another show with you guys. Try to get down to Jackson, Mississippi again. It's always fun to go. On a side note, James is in a band called Harsh that is very good, and we played with them in Jackson, Mississippi last year, and it's always fun for me.
I know James is sitting there right now, he's like, he never said shit about tuning. Like, I was looking for a drum video.
We're not there yet, obviously. We're not even putting the head on yet. It's taking a lot longer than I thought I would. But I was saying, it's always fun to me to go play an out-of-town show with a band that we already know. Like a band from our same area, either that or a band that we've played shows with in the past, and we have a like a friendship with. Going somewhere new with somebody we're already buds with
makes it easier.
That's like one of my favorite things, because we're like, yeah, we're gonna get to hang out with those guys again. That's always been one of my favorite. That's literally how we got Rocky in the band, and how we got Jed in the band is Jed's old band Shive went on tour with us, and like we booked the tour and took them as like the opening band a few years ago. And then when they broke up, we just grabbed Jed up because we just loved Jed. And then, when Rocky's band, wasn't stopped really doing stuff, then we kind of just do the same thing with him. So anyway, lesson to you: always make friends with the bands and other musicians that you play with, because if you're not an asshole, or even better, if you are an asshole like I am, they will probably end up playing with you because they don't know any better. But yeah, my phone battery is about to die. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This is John and Rocky signing off on the, I don't know what we're going to call this show yet, but I hope you had fun. And I sure...
Yeah, I had fun.
I had fun hanging out with you guys, and I would look forward to doing it again. So leave us a comment if you have any suggestions, or want us to talk about anything, or if you want Rocky to make fun of my hair, or the fact that like
I will
I'm
never
always
make fun of your hair.
the fact that I'm always cold.
I will make fun of that.
Or if you want to see Mesa throw up in the floor again live on YouTube, we can.
It's almost like he planned that.
He did plan it. Anyway, enjoyed talking to you, James. Enjoyed seeing you guys. Thank you guys so much. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. How do I turn this thing off? I don't know. Let me figure this out.